So on a normal Minnesota winter, my switchgrass would normally be under 2 to 3 feet of snow right now. But as you can see behind me, it's still standing tall and proud because this has been anything but a normal Minnesota winter. So I want to do a little walking today and see how the deer are using the switchgrass this winter, in particularly how they're using it in regards to terrain features. So hang with me and I'll show you how the deer are utilizing this. Alright, so here's my first bed. It's this impression right here. It's going to be a little bit tough to see with the shadows and with the lack of snow. There is an impression right there. And what do we got? So this is a flat spot before a slight drop off, and then I got a larger hill behind me, actually a ravine and then a larger hill. So this would be the southerly side. So we're catching full sun here, and again, what do we have? A nice open pocket. And there's another bed right there. So I got two beds right here in an area where there is not switchgrass, but there's switchgrass all the way around it. Alright, so there's another very strong impression right there where deer have been bedding. Now this one's in a little bit thicker area as far as switchgrass, but again, if I step back, you can see there's no switchgrass growing right here where the bed is right here. So if the deer were to bed down, again, here we have a little bit more cover, but we got a south-facing slope, so we're pulling in all that nice sunlight here. A perfect flat spot, and also a great spot. If they're out looking over the southerly valley, they still can scent check with the wind coming over their back, assuming, given it's winter, it's going to be a northerly wind. Alright, so here I actually got two beds. It's interesting. A little bit of woody structure. That's balsam poplar coming right there. I got a bed here, and I got a bed right here. So a little bit of woody structure in the switchgrass, and we got two beds. And again, they are bedding where there's not switchgrass growing. But it is interesting that they're relating to the woody structure, because I've talked about how I want to get more of this coming up in these little pockets like this where there's not switchgrass growing, because I want more diversity. I want an element of food in my switchgrass bedding, so I'm letting this stuff come up, and I'm not planning on burning this stand of switchgrass and letting the trees kind of fill in some of these spots. But it's interesting, a little bit of woody structure, bed and bed. So whether or not that's just coincidence, I don't know, we'll see. But this is a beautiful spot. Again, southerly slope, looking out over the valley, able to scent check everything coming from that direction, or all the, with the wind coming out of the northwest. We got two beautiful beds right here. Alright, I'm sitting down in this bed right here. You can see definitely an element of security sitting right here, and I'll spin it around here and show you the view. And look at that. Sitting right here. A little bit open in front here. Can't quite see down to the trail right there, but definitely a spot that feels nice and secure, and again, south-facing slope. Alright, there's another big impression right here. So that's where I found a bunch of beds. On that second knoll there, that's a little bit below where I'm at right now. But this is the same story. It's actually just below the crest of the hill here. South-facing slope. And another great spot to get down at the deer's level, about right here. Nice room with a view. So when you're thinking about where to set up these deer beds, these southerly slopes are, I mean, they are money. And I think in the fall, especially in Minnesota, we get cool temps. So this is where the deer are going to want to be, in a spot like this, where they can absorb all that nice sunlight and still have that element of security with that northwest blowing over their back. So if you're thinking about where you want to leave some of these pockets when you're setting up your switchgrass stands, definitely leave spots for them to bed in these on these southerly slopes, of course, where it's nice and flat. So spots like this where the switchgrass came in very, very thick, and I did not leave open diversity pockets, This is where I just don't find beds in these areas. Now, if you're in a scenario where you're in prairie country and you're the only cover, you will likely find beds in even a very thick switchgrass stand with very few open pockets. But in most scenarios, like mine, which is I'm in mixed egg country, you need those big open pockets to bed deer because they have some phenomenal bedding options in the timber. We got good bedding options in swamp behind the farm. We got good bedding options in conifer stands. So they have a diversity, or a diverse range of options on our farm. So they don't tend to want to bed in the switchgrass unless I give them that space in the bedding to bed in here. I plant switchgrass because I want lots of options for the deer to bed, and they will bed in switchgrass. Normally I don't get 12 months of bedding. Normally it's about 8-ish months, but this winter's been an exception. But you need to leave those open pockets. That is where I find the beds 95% of the time on the farm. Alright, I hopped over to a different stand of switchgrass. Tough to see here. There's a bed, large bed right here. I'm pretty much on the top of the hill, but again, more the southerly side. Kind of flattens out for quite a ways and then drops again. I noticed a few beds right up on this spot. Beautiful spot, a little bit thicker here, but there's a lot of these pockets like this that are open because looked like there was a bed right up in here. Got the bed back there, and I noticed a couple more beds over there. So they really do favor these spots. Yeah, like right here, there looked like there had been an impression kind of right where my boot is. Maybe not since the snow fell, because we can tell that deer hasn't been bedded in here since then, but it sure looks like a good impression right here. The spots I'm finding, all these impressions, they're really pretty strongly on the south-facing slide. When I was leaving that other spot, I did notice one bed on a northerly slope. That was it, and it was a really small bed. It looked like a fawn bed. So they love these south-facing slopes for sure when it comes to switchgrass bedding. Alright, here's the last one I'll show. Again, this one's kind of right at the top of the hill. Maybe a little bit more on the north side actually here. Big impression. Nice backstop of switchgrass and a great view. This is where they want to be. It's nice that the switchgrass actually, my shadows, held up here this winter and gave us more options. The deer are definitely responding to it and utilizing it. So when I talk about switchgrass bedding, like I said, it does not work in every single circumstance, but there are circumstances where you can get deer to utilize it, and it can be a nice option to add to your farm as far as giving the deer some diverse options for switchgrass bedding. But that's all I got for today. All right, y'all take care. God bless.